My fiancé slept with my sister and impregnated her years later. My family pleaded for me to take in their baby, but my emotionless response horrified them. What if the two people responsible for that heartbreak, your fiancé and your own sister, came back years later, not to apologize, but to ask for an impossible favor? Trust me, nothing could have prepared me for that conversation. I was with Rob for 3 incredible years before he asked me to marry him. 3 years where I thought I'd found my person, my future. But here's the kicker. Rob decided to cheat on me with my sister, Nora. And if you knew Nora, you'd understand a little more. She's 2 years younger than me, and let's just say, she was always a jealous brat. Whatever I wanted, she had to have. And usually, she got it. My parents, bless their hearts, coddled her every step of the way, which basically turned her into this entitled, insecure, copycat of a person. It was exhausting. Seriously, it got on my last nerve when she'd copy me, then pretend I was copying her. My parents would always step in, tell me to be the bigger person because I was older. But honestly, I was so sick of being the bigger person. Our relationship became incredibly bitter. So, when college came around, I bolted. I was so relieved to finally get out of that house. That's where I met Rob. We were friends for ages, crushing on each other, too scared to ruin what we had. But right around graduation, he finally worked up the nerve and asked me out. I said yes. Looking back, that was probably the biggest mistake of my life. After 3 years of dating, he proposed. And again, I said yes. We'd met each other's families, but honestly, I wasn't super close with mine, so Rob hadn't spent much time with my folks or Nora. That changed after the engagement. They started seeing each other more. Now, I never suspected a thing. When Rob and I were together, he gave me no reason to doubt him. He seemed head over heels, and I loved him deeply. The thought of him cheating, especially with Nora, felt impossible. But oh, how wrong I was. He was a brilliant actor. He and Nora started flirting weeks after our engagement. Nora, of course, was the one who initiated it. She actually confessed to that part later. Rob apparently held back for about a month before he started responding to her advances. And the worst part? I didn't find out until a week before my wedding. A week. The only reason they even told me was because Nora got herself pregnant with Rob's baby. 9 weeks along, she was. Everyone else in the family knew before I did. That's why they called a family meeting. I remember thinking it might be a surprise party or something. Instead, I left that meeting in tears. 2 years later, and it's still the worst day of my life. My parents, Rob's parents, Rob, Nora, they were all there. They sat me down. And then, the story tumbled out. Nora had reached out to Rob, flirting, messing with him, just to annoy me. He hadn't responded at first, but slowly, he warmed up. She was funny and kind of cute, they said. Harmless flirting, just joking around. Then, they fell for each other. Nora swore she never intended to ruin things, never meant to fall in love with my fiancé. And Rob? His excuse was that he was stressed about the wedding, thinking about life after marriage, and this was his way of relieving stress. Lame. Just utterly, completely lame. I didn't buy a single word Nora said about not intending to ruin things. Knowing her, that's exactly what she wanted. And now, she was pregnant with my fiancé's baby. They were in love, they wanted to get married, and this meeting? It wasn't to discuss options. It was to inform me. Everything was decided. My family, Rob's family, they'd all known for 2 weeks, ever since Nora found out she was pregnant. They'd already decided I just had to deal with it. They even started to apologize, but by then, I'd had enough. I'd been sitting there, frozen in disbelief. But when those apologies started, when I fully grasped that this was real, that it was actually happening, I snapped. I screamed. I unleashed all my frustration, hurt, and confusion. Mostly at Rob and Nora. I cursed Rob out for a solid 5 minutes, and he just sat there, taking it. Then I turned to Nora. I told her I didn't believe any of her garbage excuses. I told her I knew she'd wanted to ruin my relationship all along. And now, pregnant with my fiancé's baby, she must be so proud. She started crying, apologizing, saying she never meant to go so far. But I couldn't take it. My hand flew out before I even knew what I was doing. I slapped her. Hard. Across the face. And then, silence. Nobody said another word. I walked out. That was the last time I saw Rob, Nora, or anyone from my family in person. I cut them all out of my life. Completely. 2 weeks later, friends told me Rob and Nora got married in a private ceremony. By then, I'd already started rebuilding. I packed my bags, moved in with a friend, and applied for a transfer to a different city, desperate to escape. It was hard, but within a month, I was gone. Physically, I was far away, but mentally, I was trapped. I started drinking. Heavy. Depression hit me like a truck. New city, no friends, no family, and I didn't want to reach out to anyone. I stopped going to work. got fired. But I stayed there for another few months, just escaping, until the money ran out. I was so broke I could barely afford a flight home. I sold some things, scraped together enough, and flew back. That's when it hit me. I had royally messed everything up. And I didn't even have money for a drink anymore, which meant withdrawals on top of the depression. I felt like I was over. But somehow, deep down, something refused to give up. I showed up at Kylie's doorstep, my best friend since kindergarten. I hadn't even been speaking to her, trying to forget everyone. But when I broke down, begging for help, she took me in, no questions asked. I'll forever be grateful. When my own family failed me, she was there. I was a wreck, physically and emotionally. She took care of me, helped me find new jobs, let me live rent-free for 3 months until I started feeling like myself again. She connected me with AA, even suggested rehab, but I didn't want it. Luckily, I got better without it. I landed a decent job. I stayed with her for 8 months, and she never once made me feel like a burden. I knew her boyfriend wanted to move in, and she wanted him to, but they were waiting for me. I couldn't let her make any more sacrifices. So, after 8 months, I moved out. Mentally, I was still struggling, but I was back on my feet. Almost 2 years passed since my wedding was called off. No contact. Nobody reached out. Not even a final apology. My friends had cut Rob off, so I had no idea what was happening with them. Then, 3 weeks ago, I heard Rob had been in an accident. He fought for 4 days, then succumbed to his injuries. It was a shock. I even went to his funeral, but I left before anyone could see me. Despite everything, we were close once. It's hard to accept someone's passing, even when you hate them. I still haven't fully processed it. As if that wasn't enough, a few days ago, my mother showed up at my house. And with her, Nora, and Rob's daughter. I wouldn't have let her in, but the kid was there. My mom found me through sheer determination. None of my friends would give her my address. She said she knew I was at Rob's funeral, that they were all still sorry for what happened, but it was beyond their control. Then she broke down. Rob and Nora, she said, had paid for what they did. Rob with his life. But Nora, hers was worse. She'd lost the love of her life, and now she wasn't sure her daughter would ever experience the love of both parents. That's how I found out Nora had glioblastoma. 3 or 4 years to live, at best. 1 year, at worst. Diagnosed 4 months ago. It's aggressive. She's young, healthy, which might buy her a couple of years, but more than 5. Unlikely. Nora had been hopeful before Rob died. At least her daughter would have a father, maybe even a stepmom someday. But now, her daughter had lost her father, and soon, she'd lose her mother too. She'd have grandparents, yes, but my parents and Rob's parents are in their late 40s, early 50s. Not ideal for raising a child all over again. Nora believes her daughter needs a parental figure, even after she's gone. That's why my mother was there. Nora, seeing me at Rob's funeral, decided I was the only person she could trust to raise her daughter. And my parents, Rob's parents, they all agreed. My mom was their messenger because I used to have a somewhat normal relationship with her. I was thrown for a curveball. Then, she started insisting I agree to raise my niece as my own daughter after Nora passes. And spend time with her now, to ease the transition. Everyone, my mom said, thought this was the best way. Nora could have peace. I was in shock, silent. My mom started crying, begging me to show them some mercy. Nora was unfortunate. My niece was my blood. I started to freak out. It was too fast. I told her I couldn't just decide on a commitment this huge in an hour. This wasn't just about the past. This was a monumental decision. She told me Nora would be heartbroken, that she was already so depressed. My mom pleaded. I just needed time. I wasn't saying yes, I wasn't saying no, but I needed to think. And I definitely didn't want to get upset in front of my niece. I asked her to leave so I could have some peace. She left, but only after making me swear to call her with my decision within a week. It's been a couple of days since then. I'm lost. The past still hurts. But what's happening now, it hurts more. I'm doing well, finally. But thinking about Nora, what she's lost, it feels like a punishment far greater than anything she did. I feel horrible. Even if I forgive her, I am not ready to raise a child. So, am I the monster for not wanting to adopt my sister's child after she passes away? Edit. Just to be clear, my niece's grandparents are perfectly willing to take her in, but they, and Nora, believe I'm the ideal candidate for that maternal bond. Financials aren't the issue, it's the emotional weight. I just don't feel ready. Well, that week passed. My mom kept her word, didn't badger me. But it was a difficult week. The decision itself was made, but how to tell them? Today, I called her. Invited her over. And I told her. I couldn't do it. I've been through so much. I'm just not in a place to even consider being a mother, especially to Rob and Nora's child. There are too many emotional layers. I kept it short. I'm not ready to be a mother. It's a huge commitment, and I've thought about it long and hard. My mom was hysterical. You don't have to commit right now. Nora still has years. But I told her, even then, it would be too painful. I couldn't replace Nora. My mom cried. It was hard. She kept repeating how heartbroken Nora would be. I felt terrible, but what could I do? Eventually, she composed herself. She understood, she respected my decision. Then she left. I felt a weird mix of relief for standing my ground, and immense guilt for the pain I knew I was causing. It's been 3 days since then. My mom called this morning. Nora really wants to see me. In person. I wasn't comfortable. We haven't spoken in 2 years, haven't seen each other. Now she's sick, and it's awkward, difficult for both of us. But my mom said Nora had been insisting for days. After a few minutes, I agreed. She's going through enough. I guess I can see her, just once. We never got along, but I can't hate someone who's lost everything. So, after work, I went to my parents' house. First time in 2 years. Saw my dad first. We had this emotional reunion, hugged it out. He apologized. Then I saw Nora. She was a shadow of herself. Lost so much weight. The sickness was etched on her face. And Rob's death, that must have crushed her. She was not well. We shared an awkward side hug. Then, without preamble, she started. She was sorry. She meant what she said that day, that she never intended to ruin my relationship. She hadn't even expected Rob to respond to her flirting. She'd just been trying to get on my nerves. But he did respond, and she did like him. They just took it too far. She regretted everything. If she could take it back, she would. She told me Rob felt the same regret before he died. I didn't want to relive it. I just told her, it's fine. I've moved on. After that, she told me she knew I'd declined to raise her daughter. She understood why. But if I ever changed my mind, even a little, she'd still love for me to take my niece in. I didn't know what to say, so I just smiled. We chatted, awkwardly at first, about our lives. An hour and a half passed quickly. I was tired from work. She told me to go home, but asked me to stay in touch. She wanted to make things right before it was too late. I saw tears in her eyes. She'd been holding them back, but at the end, she couldn't. Neither could I. But we didn't cry in front of each other. I waited until I got home, and then I just sobbed. Not just for today, but for everything that had happened. And it felt like a huge burden lifted. I don't know what the future holds, but I hope I can finally put the past behind me. Nora passed away last night. It's tragic, but the timing, it's almost poetic. Exactly 3 years ago today, I visited her for the first time after our huge fallout. I kept in touch with her these past 3 years, and we've spent a lot of time together recently as her condition worsened. The whole family was there, me included. My feelings about her are complicated, to say the least, and I won't even try to explain them. But I do have a very close relationship with my niece now. I'm still not ready to adopt her or take Nora's place, but we have a special bond. I'm going to make sure she always knows she has a parent, a friend, and an aunt in me, no matter what. Honestly, even if I were ready to adopt her, I wouldn't have the heart to take her away from her grandparents right now. Both my parents and Rob's parents need this. They need her. I truly hope Rob and Nora are in a better place now. And I forgive them. It's not easy, but I don't want to hold anything against them anymore. After everything I've told you, this crazy, winding story, I have to ask, what would you have done in my shoes? How would you have navigated all this? I really want to hear what you think in the comments.